I deployed to Operation Desert Shield, which turned into Operation Desert Storm for the invasion of Iraq 1991. I served in Bravo Company 2nd Battalion 34th Armor 1st Infantry Division, also known as the Big Red One. My unit was tasked with clearing the breach point of Iraqi defenses including tank mines, and came under direct enemy fire. Our crew was interviewed by journalists and the story was in print over the Associated Press. We had been into enemy territory and were 3 days with no sleep. It was like we were still in disbelief to be alive after expecting to be the first of casualties. I truly believed I was not going to be around to tell any of this. I had said my goodbyes to my family so I could focus on doing my job. Now I'm just discovering our commander wrote a book of historical record of our division. The details are given in dry facts but with great accuracy. I cannot recommend for the casual reader. If you're an enthusiastic history buff, then I highly recommend this book. I am including a few sample pages, pictures, and my quote that was used for the book. The experience I had changed me. Army Commendation Medal for Valor. Kuwait Liberation Medal. Our crew almost died when we sped across what we thought was hard sand on our way to our unit. Oscar in the hole to scale the size that took 2 photos to picture. Truly amazing. We were 70 tons of explosives and pulled it off. They said that had I not throttled the engine and sped up, we would have been seriously injured or killed. 50 miles per hour and going into a hole while braking would have thrown the entire crew into solid metal inside. No seat belts included. RTC was waving to onlookers that were waving to us frantically because they were such fans of ours, or they were warning us of the danger. Haha, it turned out they were fans after they saw the tank fly and make the jump. They met us with, "Kawabunga dude," cheering. My eyes were forward, so I never saw the soldiers until they arrived and helped us stow our gear that was thrown off. The driver is the last to see it because I'm lowest position in the tank. I had no reaction time. I started to tap the brake but it was no use, so I twisted the throttle and braced myself. All I saw was a wall of dirt and sand and heard grunts from the crew as they were being slammed inside. Bravo Company 234th Armor 3rd Platoon Staff Sergeant Ronald Sweeting, Tank Commander Bravo 33. The Abrams. Our crew survived the war with a few close calls of friendly fire, land mines, unexploded ordnances, scorpions, dung beetles and camel spiders. One Iraq soldier who was alone, and lost and out of range, still fired his weapon at my wingman crew member who had no idea someone was shooting at him while brushing his teeth. The dummy took his CVC helmet off and our radio calls went unheard as we screamed and jumped up and down. Luckily our infantry took a PCM-111 and got to the enemy soldier and he surrendered by throwing his AK-47 so high in the air, it almost went to orbit. There was danger everywhere. I rarely even left the safety of my tank, sometimes only touching sand to go to briefings. People were dying but many did not really know how easy it was to die. We had to navigate at night in black out conditions, and when you have a force the size historic numbers of tanks and fighting vehicles, soldiers can become victims of hit and runs very easy. Unexploded ordnances were so numerous it was a minefield of bombs the size of fat lawn darts. One mechanic buddy of mine, smart guy but his thinking to pick one up and take it as a souvenir does him no credit. He killed himself and his subordinate sleeping when he entered the tank M88 tow tank next to us. I witnessed the blast and saw the billow of white smoke. I remember just staring at that smoke and tried pretending it was not coming from the hatches of the M88. No one could enter to even check at first because there may have been more he collected. So my fear and worry was always about being shot or blown up, depending on whether I was inside my driver compartment or standing outside on top of the tank. I was expecting to die, especially the day we went through what is called a breach. 234th Armor Bravo Company, Blade Runner B-33, named after the Harrison Ford movie and for the plows attached to the front for clearing mines. We were the tip of the spear and tasked that day in March 1991 to lead the entire 1st ID. And the 7th Corps. I was the front-line fodder that they promised would be put in for a Silver Star for our brave efforts, but I never gave a shit about that. I was too busy worrying over the mine that had my tank's number out there. One tank mine could blow a tank 7 or 8 feet in the air, I'm told. If the concussion didn't kill you. The blazing intense fire that would happen so fast would crisp you to a black charcoal statue of someone in action trying to climb out. I saw this kind of death-on-death highway where all the Iraqi tanks and chunks of artillery vehicles and cars. The shock and awe courtesy of our U.S. Air Force was the real reason we subdued Saddam's forces that he described was going to defeat us. He called the mother of all wars. Never send your mother to war. She just thinks she can fight because all these years she has been fighting the girls on her block and they never actually did more than pull hair and scratch. We came in like a champion MMA fighter and with a few well-timed and vicious blows that knocked their entire army back to the Stone Age. Most of the Iraq soldiers surrendering were naked or had tatters of clothing that were burned off. They so happy to see us. And I was happy not to kill them. Instead we were happy to give them nearly all our food rations. Sadly, other encounters did not go as well.